What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Anaheim Halo 3 Bracket Show. I'm Chris Puckett, joined by my good buddies and MLG experts. We got Sundance D. Giovanni, Andreas Nexi Pearson. Guys, welcome to the show. We're here at the ESPN studios, and we're here to talk about the brackets. So let's take a look at the top half. Starting off here with winners bracket round 1, we have our number 1 seed and Dallas champions, Triggers Down, facing off against Active Rush. Heaven and Earth will be facing off against Status Quo. Classic faces Virtuosity, and Swagger Like Us will be playing the number 3 seeded Instinct. Now, guys, we have 3 big names in the top half of the bracket. That's Triggers Down, Classic, Instinct. Do you expect any of these teams to struggle in round 1?
No, they might drop a game here or there, but all these teams will move on. This is just them getting prepared for the rest of the tournament.
Next,
I don't even think they'll drop a game. Round 1's easy for these guys.
All right, now a matchup that's not as easy is the 11th seeded Heaven and Earth. That's Karma and Anarchy on this team now, facing off against Status Quo, who just made some roster changes as well. What do you guys expect to see here in round 1?
Yeah, nothing to take anything away from Heaven and Earth, but I see SQ running away with this one. I mean, this is a great round 1 matchup for SQ. They're already 2-1 against Heaven and Earth, and they just picked up Legend. Legend placed 6th last event with Classic, only losing to Straight Rippin' and Instinct. He's going to come in and add a lot of momentum and direction to this team. Not to mention what Ace was doing last event. I was watching him on the main stage, and it was a lockdown ball game. It went into overtime, and during that second game, he goes plus 14 with most ball time, while his entire team went negative against Ambush. I mean, I've never seen stuff like that on the main stage, and that's why I got to go with SQ.
I hear you, Nexi, on the Status Quo thing, but remember, this is all about potential for them. They have a ton of it. They just haven't reached it yet. I mean, they could be a top 6 team. They're always well prepared. They're always well practiced. They land like crazy. Strong Side's not with this team anymore for a reason, and that's because they never reached their potential. Now, Ace, to me, is a top talent. The guy could be on a top 4 team next season if he wanted to in a heartbeat. It's a question of whether or not they're going to gel with Legend and play well enough to reach that potential. But on the other side of it, Heaven and Earth is another team that I think has a ton of potential. I love the talent on paper right here. Karma's back. He's got a lot to prove. I think he wants to bounce back strong. If he does, that's going to be a positive. Anarchy's there. He's got some experience. That's a positive. And Killer Drew. To me, he's like a mini Hysteria. This kid's super talented. Great Slayer who does objective work. And when I see that on a squad, I'm going to put that at the front. To me, Heaven and Earth has the potential to take the Status Quo down, but I don't think that they will necessarily. I'll go with that Status Quo because they're going to be prepared. But the other thing is, Heaven and Earth's a West Coast team. They're not traveling very far. They may have a lot of fans there. So, a little wild card action going on right there. They might surprise.
All right, well, those are the matchups in the top half. Now let's look at the bottom half of the bracket. We start off here with Final Boss facing off against the 14th-seeded Relapse. Dynasty, the 9th seed, will be playing 8th-seeded Believe the Hype. Carbon will be facing off against Under the Influence. And North of 49 breaks into the top 16 to face off against Straight Rippin'. Now, guys, here we have Final Boss and Straight Rippin'. On paper, it should be an easy 3-0. Is that what you're expecting?
Yeah, they should cruise.
All right, well, now let's talk about the Friday night kickoff matches. The first match we're going to watch is between the 9th-seeded Dynasty and the 8th-seeded Believe the Hype. Now, both of these teams, they've made roster changes between events. Whether that'll help them or hurt them, we have to see. But it's the number 9 versus the number 8. I can't pick a winner here. Can you?
I'm going to pick a winner, but first I got to say, Dynasty really caught my attention last event because they stuck to this aggressive playstyle that really worked for them. And at times they showed coordination that a top 8 team possesses. It was really just exciting to watch. Now coming to this event, they have a huge team change. They pick up APG from UTI, who I personally thought played excellent last event and really led UTI to that 7th place finish. And then Tizoxic from Ambush. So now they have these 2 real raw talent slayers. So they're going to take a step back in that teamwork department, but I think they're going to double their slaying ability. But I think Believe the Hype has the edge of this one because they haven't stopped practicing. They just played in the Old Spice Swagger Series online tournament and beat their round 2 opponents, Triggers Down. They beat Triggers Down online in an online tournament. That's sick. And for a team with players like Clutch on it who thrive off confidence, that's going to do huge things for him.
So, Nance, Believe the Hype over Dynasty here?
Sure, why not? I mean, honestly, Dynasty's it's a new squad. It's not the same team. I wish they would have stayed together. I think they think they're getting better, but who knows if it's going to transfer. You bring in a quality player, not a lot of time to prepare. Believe the Hype. Clutch is back because he had to be. I mean, it didn't work out for him. He was out there in the wild, and he's back with with this Believe the Hype squad, which is most similar to the Believe the Hype squad we saw at the first event. But Soviet was supposed to be their most talented player, and they're supposed to do things with him. It didn't work out. So, again, you've got 2 aggressive squads. You have a Believe the Hype squad, which is not done well when the spotlight's on them. Maybe the spotlight's off them enough where they can sneak in there. But I'm going to look for the team that comes out of this because I can't call it. I'm not as confident as you are. Don't know enough about the new Dynasty squad till they play. And Believe the Hype is Believe the Hype. They can surprise you or they can let you down.
All right, well, let's move on then to Carbon, UTI under the influence here. Carbon, they finished second in Dallas. Can they carry that momentum? Will they be playing the same way that they played in Dallas come Anaheim?
You know, I got to say, I think they will. I think they have a lot of areas to improve. The team didn't go positive in Dallas. Think about that. Second place, and you go negative as a team. Nated, the only guy who goes is a push. Everybody else goes negative. That's an easy fix. That's a strategy and communication fix to me. That's not even. You don't even have to be playing well to fix that. Then you look at the fact that the fans love them. These guys became the #1 fan favorites overnight. Huge momentum boost. Shockwave's smiling, going crazy, having a good time. He's at school right now smiling because he's going into Anaheim with no pressure and tons of potential. And Nated, speaking of potential, hasn't even reached his full potential. Nated is a beast. We've been saying it forever, and now he's a team player. Give me a break. Yeah. Carbon, easy time here. I mean, UTI should be proud of the fact they finished 7th last time. Should try and prepare for that loss because it's happening. Carbon's going to take them down.
You know, Carbon really did steal the show back in Dallas, but what UTI did was they came in with the 27th seed and beat 6 teams in a row to end up with a 7th place finish. I mean, they beat heaven and earth and they believe the hype. But then again, Carbon beat Final Boss, they beat Strip, and they beat Instinct. Carbon only lost to Sugars Down, so you got to go with Carbon on this one.
All right, so Carbon it is. That is going to do it for our round 1 matches. Now let's move on to round 2, back up to the top half of the bracket. In our first matchup, we have Triggers Down versus Status Quo. Now, Triggers Down should be able to make easy work of Status Quo, but can Status Quo take a game or two here?
I think they can. I think, again, this is my whole thing about potential with Status Quo. I would love to see Status Quo take this to 5 games because that would show me that they've come to that point where they're turning the corner. They have top 6 potential. They have the ability. Triggers Down open slowly sometimes. Let's not forget, sometimes they struggle early on. Not that they look ahead, but for some reason it seems like they need to warm up. So Status Quo, prepare for this because you could take a game or two. I'm not saying you're going to win it because that would be a miracle, but hey, who knows. But take a couple of games, use that to build for the rest of the event, and get top 6. That would be a great event for you right there.
Yeah, SQ is capable. I mean, you go back last event, they did take that Guardian Ball game away from Triggers Down, but now that Guardian Ball is gone, Triggers Down's going to run away with it.
All right, well, now let's move on to Classic versus Instinct. Now, this match, I'm excited for this one. Lots of history in this one. Classic, 2 events ago, beats Instinct. Instinct edges them out last event in Dallas. But now we also have bad blood going into this match. Ghost Yami kicked off of Instinct. He's now on Classic. What can we expect to see in this matchup?
You know, I think I'm going to come out and say it. Classic's going to ruin Instinct's tournament this time around. Literally. I mean, you got to look at the history. Classic beats Instinct back in Columbus, and they brought him to Game 5 last event. This roster is really starting to come along. It's such a well-rounded roster. I mean, you got Soldier 187, who's just evolved as a player, and Chig, who's still going nuts with that sniper rifle. You pick up Ghost Ayami. Ghost Ayami hasn't proved himself. He did not prove himself with Instinct last event. I mean, you can't say anything good about him, about his performance. But now he gets to prove himself against Instinct, and I think he's going to teach these guys everything he knows about his ex-team to defeat him.
See, the thing is, I gotta say it. I don't understand how Ghost got booted off of Instinct. He didn't play well, and they finished in 3rd. They beat Straight Rippin', a team they couldn't beat. Neighbor was in a position to get that monkey off his back and to be able to say, okay, Straight's not my concern anymore, first place is. Okay, but no, instead they make a roster swap. Look, maybe it works out. Maybe I'm wrong, but I thought that Instinct could have built on that. Ghost, I think, will benefit from this. I think he's on a squad right now that has a lot of potential. Again, if they can keep the slaying up with Chig and these guys, performing well and strategizing well with Ghost, and Ghost plays with a little bit of anger. Remember Angry Ghost you wanted to see? We didn't see him. See a little Angry Ghost maybe, and maybe we see a little John back and forth between him and Neighbor. I think Classic could take this. I think they could do enough to get Instinct off their game. I think they could upset it.
Well, if anyone knows how to get in Neighbor's head, I think it might be Ghost Yami after teaming with them. Guys, let's move down to the bottom half of the bracket now.